So in the last video I introduced the concept of equilibrium, and I talked about as to how the equilibrium of an object can be obtained under two forces, and that what I actually meant was how when two forces are acting on an object, how we can keep that object in equilibrium. So in that video I talked that if an object is to be kept in equilibrium, we have to take the forces should be equal to each other, and they should act in opposite to each other. And what is meant by acting opposite to each other is not that it should be in the same line, right? It should be in the same line. So if I take two forces like this, right? If I take an object like this, right? Object like this, if I put some force 10 newtons here, right? 10 newtons, and if I put another force 10 newtons here, right? The effect of this will be equal to this. Yeah? This will be equal to, if I put 10 newtons here and if I put 10 newtons here. So what I actually mean by this is that now these two forces are facing each other, but they are the same line of action, right? So the line of action of this force is this direction along this dotted line, and the line of action of this force is also along this direction but opposite direction, but along the same line of action, right? But in this instance, right, this force 10 newtons, the line of action will be in a position like this, and for the other 10 newtons it will be in the line of action like this. So as in the case of T and mg, the line of forces need not be equal, but they should be parallel to each other, and the forces should be facing each other, or they should be either the forces should be like this, right, 10 newton and 10 newton, or the forces should be like this, 10 newton and 10 newton. So they need not to be horizontal or vertical as well. If I take an object like this, I can put some, I will say 6 newtons, which is 30 degrees inclined to this, right? 6 newtons which is 30 degrees inclined to this. So if I increase line of action, so the other force should be like this. This should be parallel to this one. For these two forces to be parallel, the angle should be equal, and they should be parallel and they should be equal. So if I put two forces like this, again the object will be in equilibrium. The object will not accelerate. If it is originally the object is at stationary, after putting the forces, after applying the forces also, the object will be at stationary, so its equilibrium will not be harmed. So if two forces are equal and they are in the opposite direction, some object will be in equilibrium, but they need not to be in the same line of action, but the line of action should be parallel to each other, but the line of actions need not be the same. Alright, so that's the equilibrium of an object under two forces. So as I said, in this video I'll be introducing the concept of equilibrium of an object under three forces. So what happens when three forces are acting on an object, and how we can now say if an object is like this, right? If an object is like this, if I put a force 10 newtons here, I put a force of 6 newtons in this direction at an angle of 30 degrees, and I put a force of some F here, right? What is the value of F? Alright, so what you can do is that, now I introduced the concept of force decomposition. You can decompose this force into its vertical and horizontal components, right? I'll take F like this. I'll take F like this, right? At an angle of theta, right? I'll take F like this at an angle of theta, right? So what is the value of F and what is the value of theta in order for this object to be stationary or to be in equilibrium? So this is under three forces. So when I take in this direction, it will be 6 cos 30. This direction it will be 6 sin 30. This direction it will be F sin theta, and in this direction it will be F cos theta. right? F cos theta, F sin theta. 6 sine 30 and 6 cos 30. So the total force in this direction will be, so 6 cos 30 is equal to 6 times root 3 by 2, which is equal to 3 root 3. Now this is 10 plus 3 root 3, and this is, so 10 plus 3 root 3 will be acting in this direction, and f cos theta will be acting in this direction. Now this is the horizontal component I am drawing. Horizontal. If I take the vertical component, what I am doing is that this force is 6 sine 30, right? This force is 6 sine 30, and this force is f sine theta. So the forces are as follows: 6 sine 30 is equal to f sine theta, right? 6 sine 30 and f sine theta. So for this object not to move, the total acceleration is now F equals ma. So the total acceleration in the horizontal direction should be 0, as well as the total acceleration in the vertical direction is 0, right? So both A should be 0. So for both A to be 0, now the mass cannot be 0, this is some object. So the total net force should be 0 in both directions. So when you are taking the horizontal direction, what happens is that 10 plus 3 root 3 minus f cos theta should be 0 for this object to be in equilibrium. 10 plus 3 root 3 is in this direction, and f cos theta is in this direction. So 10 plus 3 root 3 minus f cos theta should be equal to 0. So the total force is 0. So although there is mass, acceleration should be 0. So if there is no acceleration, this object will not move, assuming that the object is initially at rest. So f cos theta is equal to 10 plus 3 root 3, and in the vertical direction, 6 sine 30 is 6 sine 30 in this direction. So 6 sine 30 is 3. So here is f sine theta. So 3 minus f sine theta is also equal to 0. So the net force is 3 minus f sine theta. So for the acceleration to be 0, 3 minus f sine theta should be 0. So f sine theta equals 3. F cos theta equals 10 plus 3 root 3. Right? 3 root 3. So this is equation 1. This is equation 2. I will divide equation 1 by equation 2 to find tan theta. Tan theta is equal to 3 divided by 10 plus 3 root 3. Right? So theta is equal to tan inverse 3 by 10 plus 3 root 3. And to find f, what I am doing is that I can take the square of this one, right? So this is theta. I can take the square of 1 and I can add that to the square of 2, and I will take the root of that. Right? Square of 1 added to square of 2, and I will take the whole root of the summation. So this is first one squared will be f squared cos squared theta, second one squared will be f squared sin squared theta, so that will be equal to f squared sin squared theta plus cos squared theta. You know from trigonometry that sin squared theta plus cos squared theta is equal to 1, so if you are not well versed in trigonometry, I invite you to watch my videos and come back and see here. So sin squared theta plus cos squared theta is equal to 1, so only f squared will be here, so root of that will be f here. So this will be 10 plus 3 root 3 whole thing square plus 3 square root of that. So I will not simplify the value here, I will not simplify the value of f here. What I actually want to tell you is that now for the object to be now you understood what was meant by when an object is in equilibrium under two forces, what happens to the object. So the total net force on any direction, horizontal or vertical direction, should be 0. You can resolve it into two components, as I mentioned, if cos theta equals this one, if sin theta equals this one. So it is simply like t equals mg, right? T equals mg. So what actually happens is you can resolve it into two components, either horizontal or vertical or in any angle component, so that the two directions are perpendicular to each other, and you can resolve what should happen when there should be an equilibrium. So what I actually meant by this video is not to find the value of F4 theta. So the conclusion of that experiment is that if three forces acting on that object, their resultant should be 0 for the equilibrium to be for there to be an equilibrium. So if the horizontal component is 0 and the vertical component is 0, the resultant should also be 0. So because the resultant is the square root of the addition of square terms. So r equals frx squared plus fry r squared is equal to frx squared plus fry squared. I introduced that in one of the previous videos. So if r squared is equal to frx squared plus fry squared, and if frx is 0, frx squared is 0, fry is 0, fry squared is 0. So if frx squared is 0 and fry squared is 0, the addition will be also 0, so r will be 0. So conversely, what happens is that for there to be in equilibrium, the horizontal and the vertical component should be 0, or for there to be an equilibrium, the resultant of the forces should be 0. So what actually happens, if you take a simple example, is that if you have an object like this, if you have force 10 here, a force 3 here, and a force F here, right? 10 here, 3 and F here, so the resultant should be 0, so F is equal to 10 plus 3, which is equal to 30. So if you put that like this, 10 here, 3 here, and 13 here, so the total force in this direction will be 13, right? So the total force in this direction will be 13, total force in this direction will be 13, so the net force will be 0, so F equals ma, net force is 0 equals ma, so m cannot be 0, so a is equal to 0. So if this object is in equilibrium, if this object is initially at rest, u is 0, a is 0, since b is also 0, so there is no change in velocity, so the object is initially at rest, as well as finally it is also at rest, so the object is at equilibrium. So for the equilibrium of three forces also, the resultant should be 0. So if you have some angular ones like this, you see there's a P here, there's a Q here, right? Like this, as we have proved in the parallelogram theorem, parallelogram law, it is similar to this. So if there's another for this, so the resultant, so there are two forces here, so the resultant will be in this direction. I'll take it as R, right? So if these two forces are to be in equilibrium by a third force, the resultant should be 0. For resultant should be 0, there should be another force in this direction. So it is similar to this one, right? Similar to this one, you have 10 here, 13, 3 here, 13 for like 13 force here, so the total here P and Q here. So the resultant in this direction will be R, so that is similar to the resultant of this force, which is 13. So to cancel that, you have to put force of 13 in the other direction. So what I have done here is I have put a force that is equal to R but is opposite to R and in the line of action of R. So if you have forces like this, P here, Q here, and R here, and if R is equal to, in this angle is theta, R is equal to P square plus Q square plus 2pq cos theta, R square, right? R square is equal to P square plus Q square plus 2pq cos theta, as we derived from the parallelogram theorem. If R is like this, so the resultant of these two forces will be acting between these two forces, and if that force is equal to the force I have applied against that force, this object will be in equilibrium. So because these two forces will make a resultant of R this side, I have already put an R in this side, right? I have already put an R here. Here is P and here is Q. I have already put R here, so the resultant will be F net will be 0. So F net is 0 means A net is also 0. So that's a very important concept for an object or for any particle. If it is under three forces, for an object which is under three forces, if an object is to be made to equilibrium under three forces, there should be the resultant of the force, the third force should be equal and opposite to the resultant of the other forces. Now the resultant of these two forces is this one, the third force is this one. This force should be equal but opposite to the resultant of the other two forces. So if an object to be in equilibrium, the third force should be equal and opposite to the resultant of the other two forces. Now if you take in this diagram P, Q and R, so if you take the resultant of Q and R, this should be horizontal, and it is parallel, this should be horizontal, and if this object is in equilibrium, so if this is horizontal and this is equal to P, this will be in equilibrium. So if this is not horizontal, of this is not P, this object will not be in equilibrium. So to make this object in equilibrium, we have to put force F, put this force in this direction. So the resultant of these two forces is on this side between these two forces. So the third force is in a direction which is equal and opposite to this one. So the object will be again equilibrium, and the similar effect will take place between R and P as well. So the resultant will be in this direction, and the third force, which is Q, will be equal and opposite if it is in equilibrium. So for an object to be equilibrium in under three forces, those three forces should be equal. The resultant of those three forces should be equal and opposite to the third force. So that's the equilibrium under three forces. So in the next video, I'll be talking about the equilibrium of an object under n type of forces. Now in the first video I talked about, on the videos on equilibrium, I talked about the equilibrium of an object under two forces, and in this video I talked about the equilibrium of an object under three forces. So in the next video I will be talking about the equilibrium of an object under n forces. That can be n can be 2, n can be even 2, n can be even 3, n can be 4, 5, 6, 10, even 1000, or even 20,000, 1 million. So for any n number of forces, what happens? Well, how can we keep, if we put n number of forces on an object, how can we keep that object in equilibrium? Alright, so thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you shortly.